Welcome to episode 111 of the Closing Table with Lawyers title. I'm your host, Tamera Gaede, and today's special guest is going to discuss how her and her team are staying at the top of DFW real estate right after this.
Welcome to the Closing Table with host Tamera Gaede, where we break down how to be successful in real estate and what it's really like to work in the real estate business. This is the Closing Table with Lawyers title.
Well, today's guest is a returning guest. Her name is Stacey Leslie. She is, well, I don't want to say she's a top producer. She kind of is the top producer, okay? And team leader of the agency powered by eXp Realty. And she is my very first guest for a new segment called Inside the Minds of Power Players. So I'm very excited to have her on the show today. By the way, her and her team are going to end the year at 90 million in production. Let that sink in for just a second. 90 million in production. So this woman knows what's going on. So I'm excited to have her back on the show. Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to have you here again.
Wow, that makes me feel good.
And I was just at your team meeting.
Yes.
And you have probably embraced AI more so than a lot of the realtors that I talked to.
You think so?
Well, and not just realtors, just people in general. Like, it was pretty fascinating to me. Do you want to tell the audience what you showed us in the team meeting that you did this morning?
Oh, yes. In about 15 minutes, we have a big event. We're big on events and how we market. We have a big event coming up in a neighborhood that we farm. And I wanted to get word out, and the first thing was Facebook, but a lot of people in the neighborhood aren't on Facebook. So then I thought, okay, a quick postcard mailer, but I know the return on investment of that. So I decided, let's do a quarterly newsletter magazine. I threw it into AI, and it spit it out in 15 minutes of what I wanted it to talk about with the event and our team and just getting news out.
It was really incredible. Now, you did have a very detailed prompt to do it. And you asked it, you asked it to ask you questions.
Yes, that's the biggest thing with AI is because I don't know what I don't know. So I always have to remember to ask AI what questions it wants from me so that I can feed it the information that it needs to spit out. And it was actually really cool. I tested this and didn't know. This neighborhood has a private Facebook page. And I told AI, can you go search the past events that we've done, all the pictures and everything that I've talked about on it? And it was able to go do that. So that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that it could go to Facebook because I have asked it to go to my Facebook and learn. I asked it to go to all my social media channels. I assume that it did. Maybe I need to go back and check and make sure that it did. But I wasn't sure how it worked with accessing web platforms that required user ID logins and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you can set a lot of your settings on Facebook to either private or public. Maybe you have a ton of your stuff at public setting. I would think so. Yeah. Interesting. I need to. That was a question I had about it earlier this week, so I'm going to take some opportunity to dive in and make sure my AI, her name's Megan. Don't ask me why we called her Megan, we just do. But Jesse, what's yours? Echo. That's right. Do you have a name for yours yet?
I don't.
Or is that too scary?
I guess
don't know.
that's
It's
too
scary for some people.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
I don't have a name for it. I've named everything else in my life. My car has a name.
What's your car's name?
Betty White.
Nice. Nice. You didn't drive it like you was Betty White.
No, that's kind of the ironic thing with her name.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So let's kind of dive in. I want to talk about this year because you guys have had an unusual amount of success, very intentional success. I know that for sure. You guys work your tails off. So can we break down some of the things that you guys have done this year? I want to talk about what challenges have you guys have? What's the biggest challenge you had this year in the market? And can you tell us how you overcame it or how you moved past it?
Sure. The biggest challenge, this market has changed so much this year. It's definitely gone back to a buyer's market in the DFW area. And we are so heavy focused on listings. So that was a shift one.
Yeah.
Was to start really strategizing what strategies do we use with the buyers to want to place offers on these listings to bring it back to it being a seller's market in a way. Whereas before we were concentrating on what do we do with the sellers strategy-wise. So we had to make that shift over to the buyers. which worked out well. And then we had to really shift the way we were looking at our listings too. Very strategic on what we do marketing wise for our listings, but we had to be even more intentional, and the days on market have gotten longer. So we needed a strategy for what happens if it does go longer on market. And not give up on it. So many agents, I think, are like, have the strategy for like the first week a house is on the market, the pictures that you initially do and when you very first post it. But what do you do once you get past that 2 weeks and you lose your news flag? That's what a lot of agents, I think, forget to focus on and budget for and really plan and let your clients know that are listing their homes what that plan is so that they can feel assured that, okay, a month from now, you're not just going to drop us if we haven't gotten an offer on our home. You have a strategy for then too.
Okay. Do you want to talk about kind of something about that strategy that could help the audience?
Yeah, you bet. I'm not afraid to spend money on marketing when it comes to listing a home. And a lot of agents, that is a tough part for them to really think about upfront. But you got to budget. What happens when that new flag goes off? How do you get them back to the top of the internet? Because that's the most important thing. We have really started to rely heavily on staging. I think that's been a big play this last year. I've been fortunate enough that we have a staging arm now because we were staging so many homes.
Yeah.
But definitely our staged homes sell a lot faster. People need to be able to envision themselves in their home, and they are picking the homes that look like model homes.
There's a lot of argument about staging, physical staging versus virtual staging.
Yes.
And whether to stage at all. So you're a big proponent
of in-person staging.
Okay.
We've tried the virtual, but people, when they get to the home and it's not there, they can't envision how does a queen bed fit in this tiny bedroom? And it really does. Bedrooms especially look so much smaller in person when they're vacant than when they're full of furniture. And we've just really learned that that's what's selling a home. And I'll give you an example. We had this was a court case listing we had in Prosper just recently. And by court case, I mean, I come in a lot and the courts will come to me and say, okay, this husband and wife can't get along and they need the assets out of their home. We need you to take over. The husband wanted to list the home at $850, which would have been a fire sale for that home. It had a pool. It was beautiful, a 1-story up in Prosper. The comps put it at, if it was well maintained, at about $875.
Okay.
It was not well maintained. Neither of them were allowed to live in it anymore. It was only a few years old, beautiful pool in the back, but there was a lot of pet damage. All the smoke alarms were down. The GFCIs weren't going. The sprinklers hadn't worked in a long time.
Goodness.
The carpet was a mess. But I knew staging that home, you visually take your eyes off of the problems and you show the beauty of the house.
Okay.
So he refused to stage the home and wanted to sell it for $850. She thought it could be worth $895, and she really needed the money from it. And he has just kind of a different attitude about the house. Vacant, I knew there's no way we could get $895. That's above the comps already. $875 is where it's at. And then I told them, I think we can get you this $875 if you stage the home. She agreed. $875, stage it, great. The staging, I want to say, was like $5,500. So I telling him, okay, instead of getting $850, why don't you stage the home? Let us do that for $5,500. So now you're in at $855. And if we can get you $875, you're getting $20,000 more. He absolutely refused. And then the home was about to go into foreclosure. They hadn't paid 3 months of the rent. And he hurried up and called the bank, and he wanted to offload it for $600,000.
Oh my gosh.
So we hurried up and we stopped it with the courts.
Yeah.
We staged the home. We listed it at $874. So in this market today where things are at, because that was staged with the condition of the home that I'm telling you about.
With no repairs, right?
With no repairs done. Full asking 6 days on market, and we got it sold.
Stop.
So that is just the power of staging and taking your eyes visually off of what else is happening in that home and what can still be done in this market. It can be done. You just got to really have your strategy up front and be willing to put the effort and the money in if you have to.
Okay.
Around.
Like there's a lot of ways to market a property, right? And so I think, especially in this market when we're all struggling because we haven't made as much money as we needed to, and a lot of us have to float the cost up front for some of these marketing efforts, right?
Yes.
So if you're talking to an individual producer that is, not as having a robust year and they have to really think about their dollars, what would be your top recommendations for a realtor on marketing a property?
I think, again, back to that staging issue, and anything, if you need carpet replaced in a home, if you go in and you smell pets and man, this is just, it's hard to tell the seller, but you just know if you don't replace this carpet, it's going to have a harder time selling, especially in this market. You need to find vendors who are willing to do the work.
Yeah, pay at close.
And pay at closing.
Yeah.
And all of those will. It's very rare
that you
very
find
rare
somebody.
that we pay up front for anything.
Okay. The staging would be one, and the photos would be one.
The photos, the staging, no, pay at close.
Pay it close. Okay. Oh yeah, I do know a couple of companies, including what you guys do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That will do the pay and close. So
Yeah.
you recommend. Obviously, we don't want to skip on photos, right? And you say staging is a must, no matter what. Are there any other musts that you think that have to be done? Carpet replacement if we smell pets.
Yes, for sure. I mean, you need to make that home in this market today. You have got to make that home look as close to a model home as you can, whether the folks are living in it or not. So the way the outside is taken care of, and some of these are cheap, easy fixes like a couple bags of mulch. You don't have to replace all the mulch. Just put a thin layer on the top to make those photos pop. And you really do have to invest in the photography. Yeah. You can't be using your iPhone or something. That is the one cost that you really have to take care of. If it's a nice neighborhood with any ponds nearby or any amenities, you should have drone photos this point in this market.
Anything else?
Those are probably
the big ones.
The biggest one. Internet is key. So AI, whatever makes that house look good on the internet. And open houses, get back to basics. Hosting those open houses is huge. I've always been a huge proponent of open houses, and it's the especially now with the new laws that came out last year, where the buyer has to sign a buyer rep. They're scared to death to do that. If they've never met the agent before, why would I sign a buyer rep for you? I don't even like forcing people to do it that haven't met me. I want to prove my worth to them. So they have found out, hey, if I go to the open house, I don't have to sign a buyer rep with anybody. So I don't want to get anybody involved yet. So open houses are
You seeing more traffic because of that?
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Interesting. Because you guys, so to kind of, we should have set the stage at first, but we did that the last time you were on the podcast. 85% of your business comes from geo-farming?
Yeah, 85%.
85% comes from geo-farming. And so you are a geo-farming expert. Anytime I need help with a presentation or anything about geo-farming, I talk to you to have you come and talk to us. And I'm always glad that you're generous enough to do that. And as a matter of fact, funny story, you remember when a couple of your team members reached out to me for geo-farming help, and I was like, do you know who your team leader is? By the way, the presentation I built, I stole most of it from her.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Anyway, that was really funny. And you were generous enough to let me steal some of your information about it in the presentation. Yeah. But, I think that's one of the things that we kind of have to remember, though, also the ground game and how important the ground game is right now. Yeah. And so maximizing your open house opportunities, that's going to be a really big deal. And you guys have definitely set the stage on how to do open houses and really generate additional business from them too. I think we had a conversation one time. I was like, I had a conversation with a realtor who didn't think open houses work. And I remember the answer, that they're not doing them right?
Yes.
So can you give us some keys on how to make, and I'm totally going off script here. We'll get back to that, but give us some key open house tricks and best practices.
Yeah, I just spoke on this not very long ago. I can sit and watch. I've mentored and I've shadowed a lot of people at their open houses. I like to watch how they do it first. If they're saying, hey, I just don't get anything from open houses as an agent, I'll shadow them first and see how they handle things. But one of the biggest things I see is I think of it this way. For me as a team lead, and it's coming out of my pocket and my budget, I need my agents to feel the pain that I feel as a team owner.
Yeah.
It costs me on that listing about $150 per person that walks in that door at an open house in marketing money. from taking their photos to listing them on MLS to keeping them at the top to advertising the open house. So a random agent may work my open house. I need them to know every single person that walks in that door, put $150 on the table and leave it for me. And then see how important it is for you to talk to that person and not let them walk out the door if you had to pay $150 to get that person.
Okay.
Let it hurt your pocket.
Yeah.
So when I tell my agents to really think of that, if that person walks back out the door and you didn't get their name and number, you have to leave me $150. How hard would you work to get their name and number?
Interesting.
It makes a big difference on your mindset and the way you think of things. Because so many times I see people walk in the door and they're like, hey, take a look around. It's a 4-bedroom. This is the price.
Yeah.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Yes.
And then they come back down and they're like, oh, yeah, wish it had 2 bedrooms on the ground floor. Otherwise it would work. And the agent's like, would you mind signing in? Oh, no. We're in a hurry. We're gonna rush out. Well, great, thanks. And they walk out the door. If that was one of my agents working that open house, it would have been, I wish it had a 2nd bedroom downstairs.
Yeah.
My agent better know every single home that's for sale in that neighborhood, and all of it's gone through all of the photos of every single home before they work that open house. So they know exactly there are 4 homes on the market with 2 bedrooms down, and I can go take you to those homes. I am done in a half an hour. I can get you into 2 of them. Would you like to go see them?
Boom.
And you book the appointments right there.
Nice.
Do not let them leave. If they leave, it's really hard to get them back.
Yeah.
And just talking to them like, I know you're in a hurry and you have others to see. Are you from the Dallas area? Are you here visiting and you only have a weekend? Get them talking. There's so many ways to engage with somebody. It's like when anybody walks into a store and is looking for a pair of jeans and the salesperson comes up, is there anything I can help you with?
No, I'm fine. I'm just looking.
And then you really start looking at the jeans and it's that first person that had the effort and came up to you, but then somebody else is like, I see you're looking at those. Are you about a size 27 though? Let me get the dressing room for you. I'll take you those right in. Who comes in and sweeps in and gets the deal later? That's the person that when your open house person walks back out the door to the next agent that they get.
Yeah.
You may have been the first one and you think you deserve that sale, but you didn't learn the right questions to ask them.
And that is so important. Okay, I'm going to use a different example. I was in Double D Ranch, one of my favorite stores, okay? And they have a brick and mortar down in Round Top. I go walking in the store. I knew I was going to make one purchase because you should see the price points of Double D Ranch, okay? So anyway, I was walking around the store and they always have people that come and help you. Well, this sweet older lady came up to help me and she didn't ask me any questions about what I was looking for or take a look. I mean, you couldn't have told her my style because I was shopping in Round Top. I look like a grunge god, but she didn't ask me any questions about my style. And she kept bringing up these hideous things I would never wear.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, where did you get that from the back?
Yep. She didn't know you needed 2 bedrooms down and a 3-car garage.
She didn't know I needed 2 bedrooms down and a 3-car garage.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, now could you just go away and leave me alone so I can shop and find what I want? But to your point, take a minute to engage.
Yeah.
And if you ask a question and you just be quiet.
Yes. They have to answer.
They have to answer.
Yes.
And you're going to find so much information if you just ask questions and be quiet. Nobody cares. They don't care about you.
Yeah. Another trick I tell the agents to do is you have those sign-in cards.
Yeah.
Start the work. So when somebody comes in and instead of saying, would you like to sign in? No, we're just in a hurry and we're on our way out the door. I will say, the minute they had said, I wish it had 2 bedrooms down, I'm like, oh, really? I will grab the card, flip it over, and I'm like, you need 2 bedrooms down. Is there anything else that you need? Oh, you need a 3-car garage. Do you really like this neighborhood? Do you know much about it? No, we're just starting our look. At that point, I would get the map out of the neighborhood, and I would explain the whole neighborhood.
Which you already have in the house.
I'll already have in the house. But at that point, I've now written personal information about them on the back of the card. So I'm like, I think I've got a few more homes for you. If you will just fill out the front, now that I already have your information, I'm going to email you some links to some of the homes that I think would be a perfect fit. And then that's when you tone in on, I can't remember, did you tell me, do you have an agent or not? And I don't let them answer that question.
Okay.
Because the answer undoubtedly is going to be, yeah, we have an agent. We're working with.
Yeah.
Do they really have an agent?
No.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So what I say instead, and all of our agents are trained on this, is I can't remember if you told me, do you have an agent or not? Because if you don't, I can send you the links directly to you of the homes that I think you're interested in. But I don't want to step in an agent's toes if you've signed with somebody, and I'll send it to your agent. The truth comes out more often than not then. Because they want those photos right then. You have something that they want.
Nice. That's all we need to talk about today. And that's the end of the show.
So that's
I can't wait to keep talking because, oh my God, these are already like all these things of how to overcome objections, collect the buyer's information. Like, there's no reason why you can't have a full actionable open house.
Yes.
Anything else? Any other bombs you want to drop on us today?
I could go on open houses for sure.
I know. I have a script. We're going to talk about AI a little bit today.
The map, if you can get a map of the neighborhood and the information, a lot of people would be like, yes, I've been looking out here for a long time. You have? Okay, so you know that this section is where the dog park is, and a lot of times you'll hit something.
Yeah.
If they don't have a dog, they are not interested. And the golf course, you can get, you don't have to be a member there, but they've got a restaurant there. And then they might be, there's a restaurant in the neighborhood.
Where's the closest HEB?
Yeah, something will connect when you're describing the neighborhood.
Yes.
And you'll find out, is it schools? Is it pets? Is it the golfing? Is it the amenities? Something will click with them that they'll stop on, and you can elaborate. And now you're finding out more information about their lifestyle and what they're looking for.
And by the way, you need to remember all these things.
You do.
Because they're going to be important through the process.
They are.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
you got to dig in and do the work. This is not an easy business to. If you want to be a part-time agent and not do this research before you work an open house, you shouldn't be working open houses.
Let me ask you a question. Do you use AI to record any of these conversations, or are you just taking notes, or what?
I don't, but that would be awesome to do.
The moment you start to engage with them, you've got an app fired up.
Yeah.
That requires thought.
Now, I will say we do use our CRM system outside of an open house. All of our calls and emails and texts are recorded, and it does an AI summary to remind you of all the key points of what they're looking for.
What
and about
CRM do you use?
We use Follow Up Boss.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I had someone on the show. Ooh, her podcast episode hasn't come out yet. That's a spoiler alert. I had Miss Brianna Castillo on the show, and she talked about doing the same thing. And I think that's really important. My CRM won't do that yet, Fidelity. But I want it to.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how many times in this market, this is a big one when pricing listings. Clients always want to go higher than what you recommend, always. So what I will do is I will let them know, I'm not afraid to list your home a little bit higher because I've got the marketing strategy behind it. And who knows if we get a California cash buyer and we can get that offer.
Okay, so you're okay with a little bit higher.
I am at first.
Interesting.
As long as they promise me that if it does not work in 2 weeks and the marketing money that I've put in, they will reduce to the price I agree upon. And I will put it in an email for them to confirm, but that's where Follow-Up Boss and the phone calls come in a lot because a lot of times they'll say, yeah. And then in 2 weeks when it hasn't sold and they're hesitant, I don't think I'm ready to reduce to that. I'm like, oh no, I paid for the photos. We did exactly what I said. And here it is in writing where I told you what your home needs to be priced at to sell. And I can't have you chasing a market. I'm going to spend too much on marketing. You don't want the home on the market. And here's what we had agreed to back in the beginning. So it's really nice to have to go back and show proof of what you talked about with the client.
But there is a lot of conversation around, this is a controversial strategy, right?
Yep.
Because you're wasting time.
Yep, you are.
How do you feel about that? So you're not worried about it?
So it was kind of funny that we talked about this on AI this morning, that there is an app that will strategically tell you why it is not smart in a certain neighborhood. You can plug it into the AI, and it will tell you if you were to list at this higher price, because you feel like your home is worth that. With sellers, that's all about the feeling. They've been living in that home, and they feel like they can get $895 for their home.
They think that, yes.
Yeah, but the app will tell them, okay, if you do that, according to what we've seen on the market, you're going to sit on the market an extra 45 days, and you're going to do 3 price reductions, and you're going to end up selling lower than if you had just listed from the beginning at where the market is saying to list from.
That is a huge golden nugget for you guys, okay? Jason was talking about the Rook. Here we go. We're name dropping today. And it was Perplexity.
Yes.
And right? It was Perplexity.
Yeah, I think it was Perplexity.
That he used. So the strategy was to use Perplexity and use data, meaning to help navigate this conversation with your sellers. Yeah. Meaning it will tell you how many more days on the market you're going to expect to be there at this higher price. Yeah. And because it's not going to sell.
ChatGPT will do it too. And we do it at our listings, not only for Our days on market, we use a lot our days on market compared to other agents, but newer agents won't have those stats to go off of. But we also look at our stats heavily. Numbers mean everything. Showing somebody what a stage home has brought in versus non-staged homes in the neighborhood, and what pricing it correctly versus pricing it higher has brought in for homes. How many price reductions that ones that have listed higher have had to do. Know your stats when you go into a neighborhood for a listing appointment. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's a big deal. You need to be prepared for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know the Tribute inside and out, but you have other neighborhoods that you work too.
Any neighborhood we work.
So if you
Even more so if it's a different neighborhood, you really need to know your stats because you
don't know as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at a new neighborhood, how long do you think it takes you to get your ground game put together for that neighborhood? And you have a formula.
Yeah, not very long. Probably 30 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay.
No.
I thought it would take a lot longer. Well, you're using a lot of AI, which we're going to talk about, but so many golden nuggets. Okay. So can we talk about daily habits in your routine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
Because a lot of what you're talking about takes a lot of discipline and takes a routine, right?
It does.
So how much does a routine affect what you do? Okay. And is there something some advice that you can give to stay disciplined and stay plugged in? Because you have a lot of listings, a big team, you have a lot of responsibilities. So what do you think is one of your habits or something in your routine that just helps so much? Is there an answer?
Mindset is everything.
And this is tough right now. We
It
see a lot of
is.
agent fatigue.
It is. And boy, you got to be disciplined. If you want to be a high producer, you've got to be disciplined. Buy the books that they talk about. My biggest thing that I take to heart is I always make sure I am surrounding myself with the people of where I want to go. So if I see on social media a post that I absolutely love and I'm like, oh, I wish we could have done that drone and had the time for me to get dressed up and me go do that, and I don't, I will reach out to that agent because that's somewhere where I want to go. How did you get it done? Because most likely they were just as busy as I am. And I just want the fast track of how do I get the answer? Who do I need to hire? What do I need to do? And I do that with every aspect of real estate. When I learn or see something happening, I want to go mentor from that person, learn from that person. They say you are the 5 people you surround yourself the most. I am not going to go hang out with the folks that don't get up till 10 o'clock and don't have ambition. I want to go surround myself with, I'm doing 80 million. I want to go find that agent and team that's doing 150 million. And what am I not doing that's good enough to get to the 150 million?
No, I get that 100%. I want to do that with title
my whole
reps.
day, every day is that way. So I've just learned over time, I get up earlier and earlier. It's scary. I get up at 5 a.m.
Woo, Lordy.
And for a while, it was straight to my desk to work. And then I realized, okay, I am no good if I don't take care of myself. So I've got to incorporate the gym. You just kind of learn as you go. But habits and who you surround yourself are probably some of the biggest pieces of just my daily to get going. But I have my system. I mean, I go to the gym in the morning. I come home. It's still early enough that I can answer my emails. I schedule everything again through that follow-up boss.
Yep.
I never send a text before like 8 a.m. to anybody or an email, but I'm writing them all day long.
And you can schedule them all now.
And then they all go out at 9 or
There's
whenever.
I've started doing that all the time at night, especially when it's late and you're not supposed to reach out to people.
Yeah.
And I'll get replies in the morning. I'm like, I forgot what that was about.
But, before I used to send them and they'd start sending back, and then you get down that rabbit hole. So also scheduling your time is so important to you. So let those answers come in, and you just got to discipline yourself. Don't look at the answers yet until you're done sending all the questions you had, to whomever you need to talk about.
Yeah, but that's really hard too because you're seeing things piling up on your phone. And I'm one of those that I can't. Yeah. What do you mean I have 10, missed calls and I have all the, texts? That's even too many for me, right? Because I'm like, oh my God, I have to get this done, right?
Yeah.
So to put things on pause, to be continue to be thoughtful and work at your highest and best.
Yeah.
That's a lot of intentionality. That's hard discipline.
It is. And know your hourly rate is a big one. My coach taught me this. How much do you make in a year? How many hours are you working? Divide it. Find out what your hourly rate is. So, for example, mine is a little high, and I'll be really transparent. So mine runs at about $780 an hour. So if I am doing laundry at my house, I will sit there and think, who can I pay for less than $780 an hour to do my laundry? You know, I can have somebody come do it for $25. And I'm cleaning out 1,000 emails a day, or I was. Who can I hire? So that's when I got into VA world and having VAs do stuff at $4 an hour that I was wasting my $798 an hour. So it's just learning all these tricks along the way of how you can maximize your time and really just otherwise you spread yourself too thin and you're exhausted and you can't get anywhere.
Yeah, I'm having a conversation with someone right now who's spreading themselves too thin. And I'm like, girl, you're going to implode if you don't get some stuff in place. And what you just talked about right there, that was a big deal. VAs, $4 an hour to clean, do some simple tasks
just
for you.
Just to take my 1,000 emails. If they're spam, block me from the spam and only leave me what you don't know or what's important. So now 1,000 emails just went down to 25.
Nice.
And I can answer my 25 super easy.
Speaking of, I have a VA. I mean, I have an account that needs a VA. Thank you for that. That's actually a golden nugget for me. So thank you.
Yeah. So just little things like that. And you were talking about we're in an instant gratification world. But I even myself get off track and I will see out of the corner of my eye, oh, she answered me. And I'll answer something real quick. And then now they are in the habit of, she's there, she answered. So let's start a conversation. And so I even need to be like, okay, I can't answer you right now. And train them to not expect me to be answering.
Yeah. And
same with clients.
I think you have to do that because everything is instant gratification. It's so easy to just pick up your phone and start texting, you know? So I think you have to be able to put that on pause and engage with the people that because this is money too, right? That's money. This is money.
Yep.
Everything is affecting your day and how much you're going to be able to earn, right? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about, you said something about mindset. And I mentioned agent fatigue. You've got a big team, but also you have a lot of clients that you're dealing with. So how are we having conversations to keep up confidence and keep things, our mindset, especially, and I can tell you, I have a lot of conversations with realtors right now that are having problems maintaining their seller communication because they're like, it's just another week of on the market. You know what I mean? So can you talk about some of this conversation you're having to keep confidence up and keep things moving down the road with the team and your clients?
For clients especially, like on our listing side, again, that strategy and having the strategy go farther and deeper. So keep some key nugget, as you always like to say.
Golden nugget.
Golden nuggets. Keep some golden nuggets. Like once you've been on the market for 2 months, should that have to happen, you can come to them and say, okay, this is the point where I would suggest we do a realtor bonus and use a different photo, maybe in the photos that we have as a top photo. We'll do a small price change, give the realtor bonus so that it will send your listing out to all the agents and get you back at the top of the market for another week with some new strategies.
Okay.
And then if that doesn't work, 2 weeks from there, what's your next nugget of what you're going to do to keep them on top?
It's all about keeping their listing on top.
On top of the internet.
Okay.
Yep. And the hugest thing we have found with clients, we were guilty of this and we couldn't figure it out for a long time, is in this market now that it's changing, communication, but you need to be first. Never, ever should your client have to call you wondering what's going on with their listing. And it's so easy to forget. My team, we have strategy in the background. We know exactly when the photos were going to go out. We know exactly who's looking on Zillow to see what the stats are. We know exactly who's in eXp Luxury and looking at the stats and what we need to do next. And Sashi's off writing social media posts. But our clients don't see that work. They're sitting at home like, what's going on?
That's right, they are. Yeah.
They don't see what you're doing in the background. So it's your job to remind them, hey, I spent this, I did this week, and call them first. Your client should never have to call you and ask, hey, how did the open house go? We have exact results. When somebody works an open house, the agent, by the end of that evening, has to send everything that happened at the open house to our head TC, and she sends all the information out to our client by Monday morning and asking him about the next week open houses. You got to be first.
You are holding your listings open every weekend.
Every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday.
Every Saturday and Sunday, so like twice a weekend.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a long time. And if they can't do both days, they've got kids, pets, or whatever, at least once a weekend. And even if nobody walks in the door, I have to tell my clients this all the time. They're like, open houses don't work, and you just want to get you want to get buyers from my open houses for other properties. I'm like, the internet is key. If it's not open, how does a buyer come find you?
Yeah.
They don't. And even if nobody comes in, that advertisement got you time at the top of the internet on Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin. Even if nobody came in, at least it got your information out there again to keep you at the top of the internet.
Top of the internet. That's
Top of the
what
internet
you got to
is
be
your
top of the
number one
internet.
goal.
Okay. Is there any piece of advice you want to leave with our audience, especially somebody who's struggling right now, an agent who might be struggling right now to get deals done? Do you have any above and beyond all the other mic drops you've given today? Is there anything you want to leave the audience with?
The biggest thing is so many times just get back to basics. You don't have to spend a lot of money, not a lot of time. Just really get back to basics. People want to communicate. And I think that's why we gear towards open houses so much. It's the one chance you have to talk to someone face to face.
Yeah.
And if you can make that connection, people want that. They say they don't. It's in a world of, when I was younger, if the doorbell rang, everybody jumped and ran to the door and who's here and come on in and let me pour you a tea. And now it's like the doorbell rings and you like drop to the ground, cut off all the lights.
Yeah.
We're not home.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if you were forced to then talk to the person at the front door, you end up having a conversation and you walk away like, that was great to get to connect with somebody. So just get back to basics and connect with people.
All right. I love it. I think that's amazing. I mean, we've had a really great conversation. Heck, and we started the whole conversation with AI. Which is amazing because, look, you need to be embracing it. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. I use my AI all the time. So anyway, Stacey, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being such an open book and to be my first guest on my new segment, Inside the Minds of Power Players. That's right. So that's a wrap on episode 111. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gaede, with The Closing Table. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So give me an opportunity to work with you on your title needs and make it a great day.